What's going on, guys? My name is Jonah, and if you clicked on this video, you are probably looking for some sort of Adobe After Effects tutorials. Now, maybe you're just starting out with the platform, or maybe you've become accustomed to one of Adobe's other platforms. It could be Photoshop, Illustrator, whatever it may be. But now you're ready to take that next step into After Effects, and you're looking for some Adobe After Effects tutorials to get your feet off the ground or take your designs to the next level. Now, if you're like me, maybe you're an avid sports fan, whether that be hockey, baseball, football, basketball, and you've dipped your toes into the design water, or maybe you're just starting out with After Effects. Wherever you may be jumping off the platform from has brought you here. I'm here today to help get your feet off the ground, get some basic tutorials in there, and maybe even give you little tips and do a quick sports design that coalesces with the After Effects tutorials that you've learned to this point. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. So when you first load up Adobe After Effects, now me personally, I'm using the 2024 version. This is the screen that you are brought to. Now, if you've previously created files, you can get back into those files by pressing Open Project. Or if you're a newcomer and you want to start completely from scratch, you'll just press New Project. And that'll bring you to this screen. Now, if this is your first time seeing this, there's a lot to digest, but we'll just stick with the basics. Right off the bat, what we want to do is create something called a composition. So to do that, all we have to do is press New Composition. Now this screen pops up, which gives you some options as to what you want the basic structure of your composition to look like. There's a couple presets here that you can scroll through. It kind of coalesces with some common templates you'll see online: portrait, landscape, HD television as well. But we'll just stick with the 19 by 20, 1080, 25 frames per second preset. As we move down, we'll keep the frame rate at 25 frames per second. Obviously, you can go all the way up to 120. 60 is a very common one as well, but we'll stick with 25. And here, start time code and your duration starts at 0 seconds, and this right here indicates it ends at 10 seconds. We'll keep that from now. Maybe we'll change it later. And then we can pre-pick our background color. But for now, we'll keep it in black, and we'll change it as we go. So now we'll just hit OK. Now your composition has been made. You can see in the top left here, this is your entire project right here. All you have to do is kind of double click that and it'll bring you back to the timeline. Let's start out with some just basic functions of Adobe After Effects. We'll start with the text. So if you take your mouse and scroll up to the top, you can see all your different tools here. There's the rectangle tool, which you can use to draw some shapes, the pen tool, and what we're looking for, the horizontal type tool or the text tool. Click on the text tool, and immediately you can press anywhere on your screen, and a text bubble appears. All your text settings are down here to your bottom right. But since we're gonna kind of venture into, I guess, Sports Avenue, we can just type in an athlete's name. How about LeBron James? Everybody knows who LeBron James is. So here we are, the text tool. Now, I don't really like where I placed it. I think I want to move it somewhere else. If we go back up to our toolbox, hit the selection tool, and all you gotta do is press anywhere on the text. You can drag it wherever you want. For now, we'll just put it to the top left. And there's a bunch of other tools you can deal with here. Why don't we practice changing the background or putting a shape on the background more specifically? So we press the rectangle tool. You can draw a rectangle. So now with the presets color blue, you saw our LeBron James text went away. That's because the shape layer, if you look down to the bottom left, is above the text. So all we're going to want to do is just drag that down. And now our text is back. And we want to change the color of the background. You just go up here where it says fill. And now we're given the option to change our color. So we'll do here, we'll change it to, I like that. I like that shade of orange. Hit OK. And there we go. Now we're moving along. So, but how about let's get some actual motion graphics going. Why don't we take that text tool, and if you scroll down this little arrow right here, we're going to hit that drop down. And then we're going to go to transform. Now here's where a lot of your effects are. So this right here is your timeline. Now what you're going to do, and if you learned anything from Premiere Pro prior to this, you'll know what a keyframe is. Basically, a keyframe is a set point for your object or text in the timeline that establishes where it is directionally at that point. So right now, the position is right here, and if we click that, the text is going to stay there at that point at the beginning no matter what. And if we remove it at 2 seconds and hit my directional tool again and drag it this way, now it's over there at the 2-second point in time. If we scroll the cursor back, it's back at that keyframe where you established that that was its starting position. And if you were to press play, it moves to the bottom right. Now you got a little motion graphics going. So I'm actually going to delete this keyframe. It's going to put that position back there. And I think what we're going to do is actually we're going to move this off screen, which is possible in After Effects. I'm just going to drag the X tool so that it starts off the screen. And then we'll go back to 2 seconds. And we'll drag it back on screen. So now, when I start at the beginning and press play, it slowly drags back to that point in frame. And there's some other things we can do with that as well. So let's say we start at the second point. Let's say we'll start the scale right here. So we'll hit the keyframe for the scale. And we'll go another 2 seconds ahead. And we'll increase the size exponentially. So if we go back to 2 seconds, it grows. And we go all the way back to the start. You can see the final product. So you can do this for all sorts of things. You can do this, as you can see right here, for the rotation. You can spin it around multiple times, keyframe that. Or a common one, how about we do this? Let's mess with the opacity. The opacity, if you don't know, is the visibility of the object. So right now it's at 100%, which means it's 100% clear. And we can slowly bring that down, and you'll see it start to fade into the background. And we'll bring it all the way down to 0%. And we'll keyframe it. And then we'll go another 2 seconds ahead. We'll bring that all the way to 100. We start at 4 seconds. Press play. It appears after 2 seconds. And if we start all the way at the beginning, you can see, because we keyframed it at 4 seconds, it started at 0 here, but there was no other keyframe. So the project thinks it's at 0% this whole length until we start to move it up. So what we can actually do is scroll it back, and we want it back at 100. So we're just going to drag it back to the start and move it back up to 100. And now it's back at 100. And now as the frame starts to move forward, you can see it's always still start to fade in the background before coming back. So those are some of the basic functions that you'll be working with your motion graphics. It's important to try those out, so give them a try, mess around. Maybe you've been following along, but if you haven't, give it a shot. These are some of your most basic tools. Okay, so what I've done is I've deleted all the keyframes. Now we're back to point A with this LeBron James text sitting in the upper left-hand corner. So now what we're going to do is, you might have noticed that when it was being brought back on screen from off screen, it didn't look very smooth. And luckily, Adobe After Effects has an effect that can help smooth that out, and it's called the Easy In effect. So what we're going to do is, once again, at the beginning, we're gonna go up this time. We're gonna drag it off screen, and we'll keyframe it at 0 seconds. And we'll go to 2 seconds, and we'll drop it down back to where it was. And like I was saying, it looks a little choppy. Doesn't look too smooth. So what we can do from here is you're gonna want to highlight both keyframes, right click on the keyframe, and then you're brought up with this menu. If you go down to Keyframe Assistant, now you have a few options. And the one we want is Easy Ease. So we're going to hit Easy Ease, and you can see that the appearance of these two keyframes changed. Before, they were this diamond shape, and now they're in this little, almost looks like an hourglass shape. And now you're going to be able to see the difference in our animation. It looks a lot smoother. So what it does is skew the speed of the text moving in to make your designs a lot smoother. Okay, so as I promised, we're going to put a little bit more of sports design into this. And it's nothing complex, but we are going to do it. But what I do need to do is import an image that I want to use. And it's actually going to be an image of LeBron James that I cut out using Photoshop. What you need to do is go to this bin up here, right click, scroll down to import, and click on file. And it'll bring you to your finder, and as you can see I have lebron.png. You're just going to want to open that, and now it's in your bin. Now I'm just going to drag it down here and place it up top, and there he is. So you can mess around with the proportions of it using that. If you hold down shift, it'll keep your increase and decrease size locked and uniform. So we'll just do that, keep it nice and uniform, and there he is. I think we're gonna practice real quick is getting it how we want to look for the final piece before we add in all the effects. So I'm actually gonna just bring this text back into frame and scroll this down, scroll it to the right, and maybe just scale it up. And I'll cheat a little bit like that. There. And I think just because he is an LA Laker, I'll change the background color to something that kind of brings out those colors a little bit better. And we'll go to this shade of purple right here. And actually what I just did really quickly was download the Los Angeles Lakers logo and put it into this project. I think I want to bring that in as well. I think it'll tie this nicely together. Now let's import it in. Shrink the size so it looks pretty good. And there we go. It's nothing complex, but you're going to get a lot better as you go along. And I think it's just important to start out with the basics. So let's go in and add our motion. So I think I'm going to try and do 3 separate effects for this. We'll start with LeBron himself. And what we're going to do is go to transform, scroll him out of frame, keyframe that, and we'll keep it at our uniform 2 seconds. And now we're going to bring him back into frame. And right there looks good. And like we said, practice using that Easy Ease. There are keyboard shortcuts that you'll get to learn as you go along, but I'm just going to do it the old-fashioned and much more tedious way. So we'll just get a sneak peek at this. And there we go. We got a little bit of motion for LeBron. Now for the other two. We'll start with his name. Oops. We'll scroll that up. Bring it back down. Oops. Bring it back down. Focus on that easy ease. Now for the logo. Go to the opacity, keyframe it at 0, go to 2 seconds, bring it to 100. And we're even going to easy ease the opacity a little bit, just for the heck of it, just for practice. Alright, let's see how this looks. Drum roll, please. There you go. Now you've got a little bit of sports motion graphics under your belt. Very, very basic level, surface level stuff. But if this is your first time using Adobe After Effects, then this is an Adobe After Effects tutorial that is gonna help you set the foundation along the way. And a few other tips if you just want to look at the window that we used, because we only did 2 seconds in this timeline. You can actually drag cursor to 0 to 2 seconds, and if you just go down here to the right, drag this is your little preview window, drag that to 2 seconds. Now you can just see your animation over and over again. So now let's say you're satisfied with how it looks and you want to export it, keep it as a memento forever, your first ever sports motion graphics design. I'll show you how to export really quick. So what you're going to want to do from here is head to File, scroll down to Export, and click Add to Adobe Media Encoder Q. And what you're going to want to do from here is open the Adobe Media Encoder. So now, here we are in the Adobe Media Encoder queue. It doesn't look like our project has popped up quite yet, so I'll just hit the export button one more time. Sometimes that happens, you just gotta wait for it to load. And then from there, it's a pretty simple process. And there it is, there's our project. As you can see, we didn't really give it a name, so for now it's just untitled project _AME. And if we want to put this in our desired final location, all we have to do is just press on the file right here. It'll bring up your folder, and we just want to throw it on our desktop. Save as comp1. We'll just save it as LeBron. Hit save. And there we go, it's ready to go. All you have to do from here is press this little green play button, and it'll start encoding. And this should not take too long at all, given it was only a 2-second graphic. And there we go, not currently encoding anymore. That means it is now in our file destination. So what you can do from here, if you just want to get rid of this, is whenever you open the Media Encoder queue, it's going to show your history of exports, and we don't want old files taking up room. All you have to just do from here is right click, hit remove, hit yes, and now it's gone. And so now from here, we can check on our file, head to Finder, hit LeBron, double click on that, full screen that, hit play, and there it is. There's your design, your first ever possible sports motion graphic design, courtesy of these Adobe After Effects tutorials we just did. Hope you guys are feeling good about it, and hopefully it's laying a foundation for a very promising future as a motion graphics designer. So that's all I have for you guys today. If you enjoyed this video, please click like, share, and subscribe. Tell me what you thought about the video. Be sure to leave a comment if this was helpful. Share it to all your friends that maybe are also looking to take an interest in this, or if you just want to show them how you were able to blow their minds with very cool After Effects tricks to add a little bit motion to your designs. Thank you guys very much for listening, and take care. See ya.